Welcome to Spam Filter for your brain. Bite-sized ponderings on how our thoughts influence our behaviour and our lives. And because we're all connected, how our thoughts impact the world. I'm here to help people reconnect with their bodies and declutter their brains. And I don't believe that we should just magically know how our emotions and our thoughts impact our lives if no one ever teaches us. So let's learn this stuff together. I think in these modern times, one of the worst things that you can accuse someone of is being needy. It's such a dreadful bucket of paint. It's the image that I have coming to mind to throw over someone. There is no one out there in the world who adores being labelled as needy. But what's really interesting about this is a aspersion that we cast upon others and sometimes ourselves, is that I think that we've quite often conflated the idea of being needy with getting our needs met. It's so difficult for so many of us to clearly define what we request to happen in any given situation, to ask someone else to do something for us, to ask for things to slow down, to speed up, to give us more space, to rearrange a time, to change the menu. How many times have you eaten something that didn't agree with you just because it was polite? Just looking at the number of ways that we try and diminish ourselves to try and not be an imposition on other people. And it is a default response, I think, for so many of us to try and not be a problem rather than to try and take up our own space, which is a wild way of the world operating. If you think about it, if everybody's going around trying to bend and twist themselves into just not being too much of a bother, the most English way possible, and actually no one's out there. Well, of course there are people out there, but there's very few people out there who are just really comfortable with saying, hey, this is what I need from this situation. And just that mere idea of asking for any one of your needs, not all of your needs, you don't have to do them all at once, to be met, can feel so hugely intimidating as a prospect that you could possibly impose or cause someone else to have to go out of their way for you. That because it all seems like one great big mountain, what we tend to do is not go near any of it. And I wonder if there's anywhere where you could try and make a bit more space for that and just sort of practice that it could be possible for you. So I wonder if this week, as you go about your day, you could practice being awkward, being difficult. Just go out of your way for something really trivial that doesn't matter to you. So something like, could you, in a restaurant, ask for them to change the fork? When you are on a bus, could you ask to swap seats with somebody? If you are on a Zoom call, could you turn your camera off because you don't want it to be on in that moment? Could you ask your partner to do a chore around the house that you were going to do anyway, but it's really little? All of these things I want you to make very, very, very small, and so you have no emotional attachment to the outcome. But what you could just do is rehearse the idea of practicing someone saying no and you surviving. Try and create a scenario where your brain doesn't associate rejection with danger, and try and see if there are ways that you could experiment just putting yourself out there and asking and seeing what comes of your requests. Do feel free to drop me an email. I want to hear of like the most microscopic, most silly, most brilliant outcomes of make it as small as you possibly can and just make a little thread of connectivity in your brain, that it's possible that you could be someone who asks for things. I hope this has been useful for you this week. I apologise for my COVID stomach noises. If you hear grumbling in the background, my stomach sounds like, it sounds like a cartoon swamp. I really hope the audio isn't picking up. But if it is, I'm not re-recording it because my needs right now are that I have this body and it has to be out there in the world and I have to live in it. So I'm sorry if it's been amusing in your ears, but I'm not really that sorry because I'm completely leaving it in because all of these humanness out there deserves to take up space, including my little swampy noises. I hope you have a gorgeous, gorgeous week, and please do not forget to take some time out for self-care. If you want to pass these swampy noises on to anyone who would find them useful or the podcast, I'd love for you to leave a review on iTunes. That would be super useful. And please do feel free to pass the stuff on to a friend or join any of the coaching courses over at Self-Care School. Have a gorgeous week, people. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast here, I would love to invite you to Self-Care School. Self-Care School is a membership site where we have group coaching calls every week. We have a whole load of courses that you can dip into for whatever suits your needs. We have courses on confidence, body image, timekeeping, how to manage big emotions, overwhelm, loads and loads of stuff in there. You can kind of pick out whatever you want to work on. There is a big library of workbooks, which includes journal prompts and questions for you to be able to apply this work to your own life. And we have the most amazing community where people support each other. We learn from each other, and you get to work alongside people with quite often very different life situations to your own, and we learn so much together in community. If you would like some more of this, please do hop over to selfcareschool.co.uk.